Good higher. Can also go down.
Happy days and buenas. Oh, come on. Happy days and buenas. Dave. I would like to swap salutations and greetings and do a quick exercise of love and gratitude. I would love it if all 168 of you graduates please stand up for a minute. Por favor. Ale. All right. Okay. I want all you graduates to look up at the stands. There, all these people are here for you today. Breathe out. Goodbye. So those are your moms and pops, right? Your nanas and tatas, your aunts and uncles, your boyfriends and girlfriends, your wives and husbands, and your kids and your friends. I want you guys to show them how you appreciate them for all that they've done for you these years. Come on, show them some love. Where's the heart? Hearts, come on. Yeah. Go. Come on. All right, you graduates, I want you to face that way and up to the stage and give a thanks, a wave, a shout out to all your professors, all the staff here at the university who have helped you in this academic achievement you're about to see. Give them some love, come on. Okay, next. I want you to turn to the person next to you or behind you, in front of you. Shake their hands, congratulate them. Good job, look at that. Okay, one last acknowledgement. Are we ready? I would like all the graduates, close your eyes, please. Take a deep breath. Exhale. Give yourself a hug. Come on. Oh, yeah. Wrap your arms around you. Squeeze it, man. Come on. You can squeeze harder than that. All 198 of you have worked your doggone off these last 4, 5, 6 years. Love and honor yourself for all the sacrifices you made. We, those in the bleachers and here on the stage, and those streaming on YouTube and Facebook, we are all here for you. Esti para Hanzu. This is your day. And don't let anybody forget that. Come on, guys, one more time. Let's show some love to our graduates. Yeah. You guys can sit. Thank you. Okay. All right, that's good. You guys can sit. Thank you. Nice. All right, I love the vibe. Ooh, okay. Today is a new journey that awaits you with a fresh set of adventures and escapades. Successes and failures, love and loss. These are the source material for your story, your unfolding narrative, the plot line you'll be telling in the months and years and decades to come. Today, I am in front of you because I made a career of telling stories. I am a visual storyteller, a humble conduit, giving voice to life journeys, accomplishments, wonderments, heartbreak, inspirations, and Chamorro and Pacific Islander universal truths we all share. What I have to offer today are a few stories, vignettes, of a life lived and a profound impact it had on me. Let's talk story. Over 3 decades ago, I was in the same building. I was about to be conferred with an honorary doctorate and asked to deliver the commencement speech to the class of 1989. This is long ago, right? I was a nervous 30-year-old, not fully aware of the gravity of the moment. I mean, just 9 years earlier, really 9 years earlier, I was a UOG Triton like you guys. I was skinny with a head full of hair, and no hair. I was always constantly late. I was always stressed about finding parking off campus and running to class because I was going to be late. I was shy, quiet during high school, and when I got to UOG, I blossomed. I think I maybe over-blossomed. I was a merit scholar who was a freshman and partied and skipped class. I was like, yeah. I was having so much fun that my GPA suffered, and they told me if I didn't maintain better grades, I was going to lose my merit scholarship. I was in the student council, I was a reporter, and later I edited the Triton Call newspaper. Yeah, I bled Triton green for you guys. So the story I'm going to tell was, so about three plus decades, I was in full regalia like I am today, and I was back in the procession line, and from my spot, I saw Dr. Wilfred Leon Guerrero, who was the president of the university at that time, heading toward me. I thought Dr. Leon Guerrero sensed my nervousness and wanted to give me words of encouragement. Dr. Leon Guerrero came up to me, leaned in and whispered, "Hey Manny, the staff tells me we gave you a professional and technical award 9 years ago to get your journalism degree from the University of Missouri, and you haven't paid it off. You owe us." It was awkward, but I wasn't shocked because I knew I was going to fulfill that obligation, albeit years later. We met the next day. I told him I was planning to come back to Guam to work in a book, and I would pay off the loan. And I would need some time to get a leave of absence and get funding. Dr. Leongo agreed, and he asked if I could help to teach a couple of classes at UOG while I was working in the photo documentary. 8 months later, I was back on island shooting and teaching intermediate photography and beginning journalism. I remember the first payday. After class, I walked down to the administration building, went to the accounting department, and they handed me my check. I took it, I endorsed it, and I gave it back. I would repeat this for years till the loan is paid off. So now before I continue, I gotta ask, Dr. Enriquez, do I owe you guys anything? We're good? We're good, okay. Speak now or hold your peace. I had coffee with Dr. Robert Underwood yesterday morning, and I told him this story, and he's the one that said to tease you guys. But I also told Dr. Underwood that I was really appreciative that I got the Protec. And although it was a loan to be repaid, I also saw it as Tintuli. It exuded me, it helped me get my degree. And it was my fault that I was in default, and that it was my responsibility to make it right, to pay it back, and also to pay it forward. Because that's how I was raised. That's what my parents, Maria and Herman Crisostomo, taught me and my 8 siblings growing up in the village of Sinahanya. So in 1991, months later, we actually published Legacy of Guam, Crisostomo, and Chamorro. In the book, I wrote, "Oh, to be home again." We Chamorros have a word for such yearning, mahala. Mahalang speaks of longing, missing someone or something. It stirs a number of feelings inside me: loneliness, homesickness, a longing for the familiar. I see a lifetime of images compressed within the time it takes to utter the phrase, Mahalangzu. The spoken Chamorro can transcend basic definitions and take on a life of its own has been a revelation for me. It also reaches to those special customs, habits, myths, and Chamorroisms unique to us. To Chamorros, I hope the pictures speak of what is ikustambreta. To non-Chamorros, I wish I could sit beside you and go through each picture and proudly explain how it contains something about being Chamorro. I cannot hide the nostalgia for island life and the Chamorro spirit that sustains it. This has been a very personal project for me. In the past year, I call on my memories to guide me, and they help me forge these new recollections embedded in silver images. I cherish the opportunity to express through photographs my people, my island, and my roots. I left Guam in 1979 to further my education and conquer a new world. My mainland experience has been invaluable, but for all the satisfaction it brought me, I felt something else was lacking. I realized I was Mahalan for the people who looked like me, felt like me, value the things that I do. I came to ask myself, what is there of my tomorrow if I do not know of my yesterday? That awkward encounter with Dr. Leon Guerrero and the power of longing of Mahalan drastically changed the trajectory of my career and my life. It triggered and it fueled a hunger and drive to continue telling stories about our island and our people. It gave me purpose. I pursued my new purchase of a passion, and later we launched a monthly magazine called Laddie. In the first issue, we, as the staff of Laddie, meet regularly to conjure up story ideas, thoughts, opinions, and images to speak of an island, a heritage, a culture, and a people. Drift into the past and imagine ancient storytellers sitting around the fire, sharing their stories, their ideas, their values, their beliefs. It is the legacy of storytelling that is the root and foundation for the inspiration of Laddie. We at Laddie believe in a monthly magazine with dual voices, one that respects the Chamorro identity and heritage, and another that revels in the contemporary Guam and our island's multiculturalism. We end up saying, we at Laddie want to serve you a fiesta plate of photos, illustration, and ideas that would inspire, frighten, sadden, and shock or humor you. We did a lot of that, a lot of shocking too. And you would have learned a little more about this place called Guam and the special idiosyncrasies of the Chamorros and the other ethnicities that call our island home. So this is like the magazine was like a really important project to me, but I had this sense that I wanted it to be beautiful. I wanted the best color, the best paper. I wanted the best writers, the best recorders. We printed off island, and I just want it to be beautiful because I think the people deserve a beautiful product to showcase our stories. And we did good for a while. And we were able to achieve that in the best of economic times. But 5 years in, Japan was in recession, and that affected the tourism industry and local companies that fed off visitor spending. The companies had to adjust, and the first thing they cut was advertising in the magazine. We struggled to adapt, and we could not sustain the business model that I wanted. After 6 years, I laid off all my employees and closed Laddie. I did one of the hardest things in my life. I declared bankruptcy. The banks took all my company assets, computers, monitors, office furniture, and office equipment to auction to pay off the debt. The bank took all my cameras, my lenses, and accessories to sell at auction. I failed. It was brutal. It was hell. I left now ashamed and mamala. I found refuge in San Francisco, and the San Francisco State offered me a temporary job to fill in for their photojournalism professor who was taking a year-long leave of absence. I applied for jobs in the area that whole year, and all I got were rejection letters. My temp job at San Francisco State ended, and that summer I was working for a company that did high-end home theater installations in uber-rich homes. I was in these amazing homes, mansions really, putting up projectors and screens, installing huge TVs and elaborate $100,000 home theater systems. I was making $20 an hour. I was out on the job site in Napa, and I got a call from the Sacramento Bee newspaper, which was one of the last places I applied. I went to the interview a few days later, and before I left the newspaper offices, they offered me a job as a senior staff photographer. It was a godsend. I got back to shooting, my happy place. Back to photojournalism. I was again traveling the nation and the world, telling stories, winning awards, and I was top of my game. My mojo was back. My daughter Taryn moved in with us and went to college in Sacramento, the Bay Area. I got married, finally, to Nancy, and a few years later, we had twin girls, Audrey and Sophie. You know, a little side story, I was telling people, why did you name them Audrey and Sophie? And I said, I really wanted to call them Chablis and Chardonnay, because it flowed with Crisostomo. You know, Chablis and Chardonnay, Crisostomo, and that's how we had them. You know, a little Chablis, a little Chardonnay. So, graduates, as you embark on your journey, you will invariably have setbacks. You cannot skip the hard parts. The reality is, failure is often a prerequisite for growth in your life, in your careers, in your business. I learned that and more the hard way, but I found solace in the words of Maya Angelou. She said, "You may encounter many defeats, but you must not be defeated. In fact, it may be necessary to encounter the defeats so you can know who you are, what you can rise from, and how you can still come out of it." I have one last vignette to share, but I swapped it out to share an interesting experience I had last night. I had just finished writing the speech, and I was walking in the rain from the Nico to Capricciosa to get a late dinner. I sat by myself at the bar, eating my Capricciosa go-to, tomato garlic spaghetti with garlic bread. Yeah. I was just there by myself. We were eating and tweaking my speech on my phone. The restaurant was closing, and I was going to get my balutan leftover box, and I was casually chatting with my waiter, Imez, or he calls him Emilio, who graduated from UOG a few years back with an education degree and is a teacher at Simon Sanchez High School. I asked Emilio if he remembered his graduation and if he was inspired by the commencement speaker. He said he didn't remember much. I said, so, Emilio, were you to graduate today and some old fart is the commencement speaker, what do you want him or her to talk about? He quickly said, valuing human workers in time of advancing AI. Whoa, that was intense, but it was honest. That's what was important to him. I got him to share his story. He's a UOG grad, thinking about getting his master's, working 2 jobs, and has a strong understanding of the perils of artificial intelligence, AI, especially how it affects his high school students. I said, dude, based on what you're telling me, you know more than any old fart giving a commencement speech. I added, from where I'm sitting in this brief interaction, I think you can figure out what frustrates you about AI, and you have the skill sets and the passion to solve the problem or at least mitigate the damage. He then grabs Joseph, another waiter, and he tells me that Joseph is one of the students graduating today. Where's Joseph? Joseph! 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 Yeah! So I asked Joseph the same thing. I said, what do you want the old fart giving the commencement speech to talk about? He said, solving the island's crime problem. I drilled into Joseph's backstory. The first thing he said, he goes, I'm Haole, but I lived in Guam for 16 years. I love it here. He's in criminal justice, major, an honors grad. And Joseph knows that he has to go off island to be a lawyer, but he wants to come back and practice law on Guam. And eventually he'll like to run for senator. Watch out, you guys. Just listening to him list his career aspirations, I said, dude, based on what you're telling me, what your unfolding story and plot line, you seem committed and on track to help solve the island's crime problems. The restaurant was closing and a couple more waitstaff joined us, curious in joining the conversation. I think the manager was mad because he wanted, the workers weren't working. And then Joseph, are you there? Okay. And then I asked Joseph if he knew who the commencement speaker was, and he said he had no idea. I got up, I shook his hand, and I introduced myself as the old fart giving the commencement speech. It was a special moment and everybody was laughing, but they leaned in, which is the really cool part. And they asked me, well, what are you going to talk about? And I said, storytelling. And that our brains are wired for story, literally wired for narrative. It's how we are taught and how we communicate since the beginning of human history. I told Joseph I was going to tell him and his fellow graduates that today a new journey awaits you with a fresh set of adventures and escapades, successes and failures, and love and loss. These are the source material for your story, your unfolding narrative, the plot line you'll be telling in the months and years and decades to come. I said, Joseph, just in the past 10 minutes, I heard your source material and your unfolding narrative. Haole, beloved, living here for 16 years, working student, graduating of honors, criminal justice mayor. I could see your future plot line. Law school off island, come back to practice law, run for senator, and solve the island's crime problem. I told Emilio his plot line also has a similar story arc to Joseph. And I told both men that in life, things may not go as planned. There will be ups and downs, successes and failures. And I said I would be sharing my failures as painful as they were. That At 30 years old, I was at the top of my profession, traveling the world, coming back to Guam as a hero, creating books, publishing magazines about the people of the island, the people I care about, and the island I love. But life happens. And not even 10 years later, I'm bankrupt, watching my cameras sold at auction to pay debts, making $20 an hour installing home theater systems while waiting for a call to bring me back to my love of photography and storytelling. Stories are important. You are important. And living your story honestly with whatever life throws at you will serve you. But by honoring your narrative and your dreams and your desires and your passion and your purpose may also be a service to others and affect and may improve life on this island. That's important. You're important. It's been an honor to be part of your life journey. I await amazing stories to come. Si Diyos maasi upay sa aming toro. Viva! Viva ERJ! Okay.